Happy holidays, gang. Pull up a chair. Come on in. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is back again. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief, in case you did not know. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Tuesday, December 2nd. Yes, it's December already. Holy cow. This is live stream 1262. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. Then we'll normally take a first look at a role-playing game product. Every once in a while, we'll peek at a board game. Sometimes I'll tackle a topic, or we just do the news and then do an AMA. Just chew the fat with chat. But tonight, we're going to dive on in. We're going to take a peek inside Level Up Advanced 5e Voidrunner's Codex from EN Publishing. Yes, the fine folks over at EN Publishing were kind enough to send me along a few items, this being one of them. First time I've actually taken a look at a role-playing game release from EN Publishing. I did share a Kickstarter preview of Split the Horde, which I actually have a copy of now. We'll be taking a look at that probably in a standalone video, but kind of cool. Finally get a chance to take a look at something from EN Publishing, because they are pretty well known for their Level Up A5e. So we're going to take a peek. This is, I guess, the first of, I think it's 3 volumes that make up their science fiction lineup. So very nice. But of course, if you are hanging out live because you want to see that first look, keep in mind, always tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. It's probably going to be about 40 minutes before we get on into the Voidrunner's Codex. So if you are watching live, kick back, relax. We'll get to it. There is no hurry. It is the holiday season. We're just hanging out, having some fun. And of course, if you are watching this after the stream is ended, maybe even on Memorex, there are timestamps. So you'll be able to skip past the news if you would like to. And depending on the device you might be watching this on, might actually have timeline right there in front of you in the video itself. Now, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 60 whole minutes before you can take part in chat. But if you check off that box and you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D. She's emerging from the shadows. She is one of our chat moderators, one with the trying to mix up, 3 words at one time? Glittery banhammer. The bannery dammer. The bittery. I guess something could taste bittery. Well, it's not quite bitter. It's just bittery. Yeah, it's been one of those days. It is pretty chilly here in the Chicagoland area after we got, Well, I mean, got what, about 6 inches of snow out by me? And then we got a couple inches more last night. I hate winter. I despise winter. There's a reason why I lived in Arizona for like 12 years. Anyway, speaking of chat, so we also have Semper Buffo, Kathy Evans, Keithulu. Kevin King is with us, as is Max Apocalypse. So welcome, everybody. Let's dive on into that news, because Chaosium Inc. has actually begun taking pre-orders for the Call of Cthulhu 50th Anniversary Slipcase set. Here's a lowdown. Well, you might be wondering what's inside. The Keeper Rulebook, Investigator Handbook, and Keeper Screen Pack, together in a premium collector's slipcase with all new cover art celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chaosium. So keep in mind, it is not Call of Cthulhu's 50th anniversary. It is Chaosium's 50th anniversary. Playing the role of steadfast investigators, you travel to strange and dangerous places, uncover foul plots, and stand against the terrors of Cthulhu mythos. You encounter sanity-blasting entities, monsters, and insane cultists. Within strange and forgotten tomes of lore, you discover revelations that humanity was not meant to know. You've got the Keeper Rulebook. This book contains the core rules, background, guidance, spells, and monsters of the game. It's everything you need for Call of Cthulhu at your fingertips and will enhance all of your games. The Keeper Rulebook is intended for use by the Keeper of Arcane Lore, the Game Master, who will present the scenarios to the other players. The Keeper Rulebook is a veritable grimoire of rules and inspiration to make your Call of Cthulhu games the absolute best they can be. Within, you'll find a bestiary of mythos entities to pepper your Call of Cthulhu scenarios and campaigns, 2 complete scenarios, handouts, and pre-generated characters, full rules for the sanity system that sets Call of Cthulhu apart from other horror games, and much more. You'll also get the Investigator Handbook. The book contains expanded rules for creating player characters, a wealth of over 100 occupations and skill descriptions, as well as guidance on getting the most from the game. It introduces a range of organizations for your investigator to belong to, detailed information about the classic 1920s setting, and advice for all budding and experienced players alike. And then we also have the Keeper Screen Pack, which enhances your games of Call of Cthulhu with scenarios, reference tables, and maps that increase the flow of play and help to immerse you in the horrors of the mythos. Inside that are also 2 additional ready-to-play scenarios, each set in 1920s New England, a set of large full-color maps featuring the world, Lovecraft Country, and the city of Arkham itself, and of course, a 34-inch Keeper screen evocative artwork facing the players, while the rear of the screen summarizes important mechanics, statistics, and charts. This limited edition slipcase set carries an MSRP of $139.99. It is slated to ship in early 2026. Once again, it's important for you to note this is not the 50th anniversary of Call of Cthulhu. It is a special commemorative set for the 50th anniversary of Chaosium Inc. Sweet, pretty cool. I don't know if we'll actually get to see this or not. Although Chaosium tends to send just about everything that they come out with physically to me. So maybe we will. Maybe we'll get an opportunity to take a peek at this. But I actually dig the artwork. I think the Investigator's Handbook artwork is kind of unusual. It's like somebody looking over all their clues that they've splashed up on the wall. It's like, probably starting to lose their minds. J-Man and the Madman are with us. The Madman's our other chat moderator. So we've got both of our chat moderators with us this evening. Grab a quick sip here. On to our next news piece, because now available in print and PDF from Exalted Funeral and Necrotic Gnome, is issue 6 of Carcass Crawler for Old School Essentials. Here's what I know. The 6th issue of Carcass Crawler, the official Old School Essentials zine. Each issue is packed with new material for your games, including new character classes and races, new spells and magic items, new monsters, optional and expanded rules, referee advice, previews of in-developed products, short adventures, and more. In this issue, you'll find 2 new dwarf demi-human classes, the dwarf brewmaster and the dwarf runesmith. New deities commonly worshipped by dwarf adventurers, including unique spells for their clerics, Aseth, the rich god, Barg, Lord of Crushing Earth, and Gordrigra, Lady of Sanctuary. Taverns and inns. You'll find detailed establishments drop right into your games, as well as simple rules for 3 common tavern games, along with guidelines for contests of strength, wits, and more. 20 weird plants and fungi that thrive in the mythic underworld. 4 new monsters that can be trained as subterranean mounts, as well as 8 new elemental monsters. There's a mid-level adventure set in a malfunctioning magical forge complex that lies long forgotten in a tavern cellar. You may have just noticed the page with, I think I'm going to take a guess, the adventure is probably 4 pages in length. I think that's usually how long the Carcass Crawler tales happen to be. And it is the Tavern of Elemental Evil. I like that. This 32-page zine with PDF carries an MSRP of $15. You would order the physical zine from Exalted Funeral. If you want to grab just the PDF, you can do that over at DriveThruRPG for $7.50. Nice. Good to see another issue of Carcass Crawler arrive. I know a lot of people out there are overly concerned that now that Dolmenwood is out from Necrotic Gnome, that's the end of Old School Essentials. I highly, highly doubt that. Now, does that mean that Gavin Norman's going to kind of veer off into doing stuff for Dolmenwood more often than, say, for Old School Essentials? Yes, that's probably the case. But there are quite a few different creators out there, including Brad Kerr, who's the author of The Tavern of Elemental Evil, kind of picking up the slack, I think, because a lot of the, let's say, better received adventures for Old School Essential have been written by Brad Kerr. So something to keep in mind. All right. Moving right along, Catalyst Game Labs has joined forces with Bundle of Holding for a trio of 5th edition Shadowrun offers. I've got the deets on the essentials. Runner. The February 2019 Shadowrun 5e Essentials Bundle has been resuscitated for this all new offer, because I think there's a few new items in it that were not in that previously. It does feature the 5th edition of Shadowrun, the cyberpunk fantasy tabletop role-playing game from Catalyst Game Labs. This newly expanded revival includes a complete Shadowrun 5th edition rulebook and all its key rules supplements in PDF. Everything you need for a campaign of mega corporate espionage and a magical battle in the shadows of 2081. For just $14.95, you'll get all 3 titles in the core collection, which is a retail value of $70, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Shadowrun 5th edition core book. It is the Master Index edition, plus the free 5e quick start rules and 5e character conversion guide, the player's guide, Run Faster, and the cyberware catalog Chrome Flesh. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $30.57, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 8 more key 5e supplements worth an additional $200, including the rules expansions for combat, run and gun, magic, street grimoire, the matrix, data trails, and Rigor 5.0. And newly added for this revival, 4 rulebooks pulled in from past bundle offers: Forbidden Arcana, Howling Shadows, Kill Code, and Street Lethal. These savings will run through December 29th. I'm sort of curious, and those of you who have some experience with Shadowrun, let me know, because my only experience is with the first edition. Maybe a little bit of the second edition if it was still owned by FASA at that point in time. I know we have differences between the 5th edition and the 6th edition. A lot of people really dislike the 6th World edition of Shadowrun. But then again, I've also heard people really disliking the 5th edition of Shadowrun. So I'm kind of curious why the 5th edition of Shadowrun pops up a lot. I mean, it's not the new edition, and the new edition, newest edition, I should say, has been out for quite a while, because I got a review copy of the starter set at the last Origins I went to, and I haven't been to Origins in a few years now. I'm just kind of curious. Max Apocalypse says they only played the Shadowrun collectible card game, but they did really like that. You know what? I remember Elliot and I picking up some decks and boosters in that, but I don't remember the gameplay for the CCG. That's kind of weird. Sean O'Donnell and Kevin R. Smith are popping on into chat. Good to see you both. All right, on to our next news piece, because now available in PDF from Mongoose Publishing is 2300 AD Invasion. And it, my gosh, where did the title go? The Relief of Novi Kiev. It's like, I had the title there a second ago. Where the hell did it go? Slava Ukraini. The colony of Novi Kiev is on the world of Aurora, has been hit hard by the Kiefer assault. However, relief efforts are underway to resist and reverse the invasion. Dropships and supplies are being readied, and the Jager's Teeth mercenary force are arriving to begin the response. Oh, I take that back. It's the Jaguar's Teeth. Thought it was Jager, like, like a German Jager. It was not. It is Jaguar. However, they lack experience of Aurora and fighting the Kafirs. The travelers are ideally placed to lend their efforts to help expel the invaders from Novi Kiev. Set between the events of the prologue and the start of the invasion, there are opportunities for the travelers if they remain on Aurora. They are given the opportunity to serve as advisors, and with the defeat of Kafir space forces, Country Admiral Serhiy Borodin and the besieged colony of Novi Kiev have need of them. The Relief of Novi Kiev covers the operation to drive the Kafirs back. This 23-page PDF is out now. Why didn't the news change? What the hell's going on? It's like, there we go. Now you're going to take a peek at it. Okay, we'll take a moment there. Got some cool stuff in this. The 23-page PDF is available now over at DriveThruRPG for $11.99. I am kind of curious. I think the title and some of the sell sheet information would give you. So wait a second. So I just saw that image there. It is Jaeger. they've misprinted this in their sell sheet information. Because let's see, it didn't say the Yager's teeth. Hold on. We'll get there. We'll get there in a second. No, okay, it's the next one. It's the next one after. Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, yeah, right there. And then here, we had the Yager's teeth and the Yager Brigade. So, yes, that's kind of weird. That is really bizarre. Because I don't normally see some misinformation in the actual sell sheet information from the publisher. Well, I'll make sure I'll change that for them when the news piece goes up. But I was going to say, I was kind of curious. I really didn't run across anything. I thought maybe that part of your purchase is going towards relief for Ukraine. Doesn't that kind of don't you kind of get the feeling? I don't know, but I didn't run across anything. Although I will admit, I did not search very hard. Final news piece, also out in PDF, is Warhammer 40,000 Roleplay, Wrath and Glory, Only in Death. Here's the latest from Cubicle 7 Games. Only in death does duty end. Explore the grim darkness of the 41st millennium as one of the Emperor's own space marines in Only in Death, a standalone adventure for Warhammer 40,000 Roleplay Wrath and Glory, connected to Amazon's secret level episode, Warhammer 40,000, and They Shall Know No Fear. A desperate plea for help quickly becomes a savage fight against the powers of chaos. Players must race against time to unearth the dark secrets buried deep within Ignolt and relay them back to the chapter before the world tears itself asunder. This exciting PDF standalone adventure contains an exciting tale for Tier 4 Space Marine characters. Those are powerful characters here, folks. A quick guide to the rules for new players and GMs. Useful NPC stat blocks and GM advice for running an exciting adventure. You'll face off against a variety of threats, from brutal orcs to savage Zangors. A selection of pre-generated Space Marine characters make this a perfect place to start your next Warhammer 40K roleplay Wrath and Glory role-playing adventure. Well, isn't already an adventure? Wouldn't you be starting a campaign then? This adventure is a great place for you to start your next Wrath and Glory adventure. Okay? This epic PDF is available now, so take up your chainsword, swear your oath to the Emperor, and fight alongside the Ultramarines. The 35-page PDF is available over at DriveThruRPG for $4.99. Cool. Cool to see a Space Marines adventure again for Wrath and Glory, because we had the one adventure that came out that was based on, off the top of my head, I think it was Space Marine 2. And now we have this. I have not seen the secret level episode. I'm going to take a guess it's animated. Because we know Henry Cable is working on, or is it Cavill? I always thought it's Cable. Is working on the Warhammer 40K series because he's a massive fan. Yes. Little merchandising. Well, not really merchandising. I'm not selling it, but yeah, it's about time to toss my logo on something. So, let's see. Max Apocalypse says, in the Shadowrun collectible card game, you put together a crew, went on runs, and had a card called the Green Apple Quick Steps. Yes, I understand what those are, which has outlived the game by decades in their friend group. All right. So Kevin King says after the coding day they've had, they could stand to read some Warhammer. Yeah, to kind of relax, to kind of, kind of chill with some Warhammer 40K. Chris Lundgren's joining us in chat. Said they're late because they were meeting with their union organizer because they're fighting for new contracts for the Disneyland hotel workers. Yes. Bring in the union busters. No, I am pro-union. Although I think in the 70s I was probably, as a kid, a bigger pro-union person now. But, unions do have their place and their use. All right. So let's see. Sean O'Donnell says that the Warhammer 40K is 3D and is related to Space Marines 2. I haven't checked that out yet. I should. It's funny because I have a few of the more recent Warhammer 40K, like video games that have come out or PC games that have come out. What is the one it's like a 4X Gladius? I've got that. I haven't dug into that. I don't know. Just not enough time in the day. Not enough time in the day. All right, so that is the news for tonight. Or at least that's the main portion of the news, because there's an item we're going to talk about a little bit in just a moment. But I did mention DriveThruRPG, and of course, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit, say, DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do go a long way to keeping thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, you just like what we do, you got a couple other ways you can help support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Ooh, that's tasty. Tasty, I say. Or you can become a monthly member of our Patreon. And yes, there are links in the show notes for those. Also, down in those show notes, you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server. It's free to hang out. So sign up, hang with the gang over on Discord. Yay. Of course, I always like to give a shout out to our Patreon members. So big thank you to Adrian Carpio, Gustavo Covalho, Herman Lutman, Jason Lawman, Kuval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, Telzek, Dan Webb, GameCat, Kevin King, Pete Stracklich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, Tier 2 DM, Agile Monk, and the Madman. Vastly appreciated, folks. Thank you very, very much. Suddenly it was like dust. Like, it's like I sucked in some dust. It was like, what the hell? So Chris Leonard said I had convinced them to buy more Call of Cthulhu adventures on Black Friday. They're planning on running in 2026. Nice. So Chris Leonard says, I did that for you on your link for all the basic fantasy print on demand at DriveThru this weekend. Says, folks, do it. Support the channel. It's easy. Yeah. Actually, if you do go to DriveThruRPG, Do you order stuff from DriveThruRPG? I know some people don't. Some people do not like DriveThruRPG. They do not like having to pay extra for a PDF. And there's some people out there who just don't want digital. They want physical books in their hands. And I get it. Completely understand. But yes, the easiest way to support, well, okay, I'll take that back. The second easiest way to support the gaming gang, use our banner ads. That's it. Also down in the show notes, there's a DriveThruRPG link that will just take you right over there and it'll populate our affiliate code. Simple as that. Doesn't cost you anything. It's not as if your purchase is more expensive because you've clicked on one of our affiliate links. No, not at all. So you're probably wondering, what is the easiest way to support the outlet? Be a subscriber. If you're watching on mobile, I don't know if we have like a hype button or not. I know that's something relatively new with YouTube, but I think it's only on mobile devices and tablets. It is not on PC, because I certainly have not seen it. But there are a couple of channels that I actually follow, not game related. And yes, I have actually stumbled on their hype buttons. So if you're watching this on a mobile device, give it a little hype. Otherwise, just give it a thumbs up, give it a like, comment in the comment section. Comments mean a lot. They really, really do. So very nice. So I mentioned I was going to talk about kind of a little news before we dive on into the Voidrunner's Codex. So Mongoose Publishing is going to license Traveler out for 5e. And if you're on Discord, there was a little bit of discussion between myself and one of our members over there. And I know, just like this member knows, people are going to start just going ape shit about this for absolutely no reason whatsoever, except that it's 5e. And it doesn't make any sense. Now, to me, it makes absolute sense that Mongoose Traveler would be interested in getting 5e affiliation, because that will certainly put Traveler material in a lot more hands. Because, you know, interestingly enough, and those of you out there watching who are game masters and have run 5e Dungeons and Dragons and then run other role-playing games or tried to run other role-playing games, you can attest that there is pushback from gamers. Not everybody. I mean, a lot of folks are open to trying anything out. We were like that when we were growing up. I was like, oh, Top Secret? Yeah, we'll play some Top Secret. Call of Cthulhu? Yeah, we'll play Call of Cthulhu. Oh, Stormbringer? Yeah, we'll play Stormbringer. Oh, Star Trek? It was like, yeah, bring them on. Not everybody's like that. There are a lot of players out there who they're like, well, you know what? I'm familiar with 5e. I'm familiar with Dungeons and Dragons. I understand these mechanics. It holds my hand. I don't necessarily have to sit there and be like, well, I say this to the NPC. No, most of the players are like, okay, what do I roll? Or they'll be like, okay, I'm going to roll persuasion. Okay, well, what are you going to say? What are you talking about? I'm rolling persuasion. Well, okay, so what are you saying? I'm saying I'm rolling a persuasion roll. Sharon O'Donnell says lots of the 5e players they know will not switch. And it isn't necessarily because they're locked into the concept of the Forgotten Realms and things like that. Because there are a lot of 5e players out there who complain about 5e a lot. And of course, it's not a perfect system. There is no perfect system out there. But still, Sean says the only sci-fi they've got is Spelljammer. I feel sorry for them. I really do. Kim King says, yes, about 2 out of 3 in their experience won't switch anymore either. J-Man says they're running a Call of Cthulhu session using the 1984 James Bond mechanics. I love that role-playing game. I think that role-playing game mechanically was ahead of its time. Is it crunchy? Shit, yeah. Yeah, it's crunchy. But it's not obtuse. I know. I'm busting out the vocabulary tonight, huh? Well, it's after I sit there and talk about bitterly, whatever the hell it was I said to start off the show. I was trying to say glittery banhammer. It came out bitterly. It's like, okay. He grumbled bitterly. But yes, I love the James Bond victory games. And I really loved the adventures that had come out too. So they would, I think, except for like 1 or 2, they were all based on the films. But then there would be tweaks here and there from the actual film. Like if I remember correctly, I think there were 2 Goldfinger adventures. If I remember right, the first Goldfinger adventure, he escapes because if I remember right, the big showdown takes place on a jet or a private jet. And then his little escape plane flies off, like separates from the jet. For some reason, that's what I seem to recall. But then I think there was a second Goldfinger adventure. So Shazama85 is with us. Keith Lewis says you'll be bitter if you get hit with the glittery banhammer. Oh, yeah, there's a possibility there. Chardell says they could probably use a 5e Traveler to move their group into the Mongoose 2e version. Yeah, once again, I've talked about this before as far as Mongoose Traveler 2nd edition, or as we now call it, just Traveler. It's not difficult to run. It's not difficult to play. I mean, you're rolling 2 6-sided dice. It's when we start bringing in some of the other things like, oh, okay, so we're travelers and we have to pay for fuel and we're traders. We're kind of, merchants as well. That's when it starts getting like, oh, wait a second, hang on. Let me bust out the calculator on the phone. But actually running the game, playing the game, no, it's not difficult at all. But once again, I can understand why companies want to create a 5e edition of their games because they know it's going to get into more hands. But like I said, I can take a guess. People are going to be complaining about it. They're going to talk about how Mongoose Publishing is sold out. Oh, they've sold out. Next, they'll talk about how they've gone woke. Shout out says Mongoose XL2E. Yeah. Once you start getting into okay, so let's build our own starship. Oh, good. Here we go. All right. So tonight we're going to dive on in and take a peek at Level Up Advanced 5e Voidrunner's Codex from EN Publishing. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Yes, we're all set to send old Father Time on his way and greet the new year with a star-studded holiday screen show. So for riotous laughter, for hilarious fun, for a festive evening of rollicking entertainment, plan now to attend the liveliest party in town, our Gay Gala New Year's Eve late show, Saturday, December 31st.
Friends, here's a wonderful Christmas gift for anyone who smokes, because it says Merry Christmas and Happy Smoking 200 times. Yes, 10 packs of those better-tasting Luckies, all done up for Christmas in a beautiful carton created just for Lucky Strike by the famous designer, Mr. Raymond Loewy. It'll look so bright and colorful under your Christmas tree, and it's such a welcome gift to anyone who enjoys a good smoke. Because, you know, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is, Luckies taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. That's why you can't go wrong if you remember your friends with these colorful Christmas cartons of Lucky Strike.
Be happy, go lucky for Christmas gifts this year.
A wizard's ancient spell.
Into the eyes of the dragon and the despair!
And the lust of a lord.
I must have her. One night with her.
Give birth to an empire.
Behold, the sword of power, Excalibur.
The future has taken root in the present. It is done.
One man, one king.
Orion Pictures presents John Boorman's Excalibur.
Knights of the Round Table, we shall always come together in a circle to hear and tell of deeds good and brave. And I will marry.
Don't you know me, Merlin? Because I'm a creature like you.
Their magic is Merlin.
Are you just a dream? To some.
A nightmare to others.
Their king is Arthur.
You are my husband.
I must be king first.
Their power is Excalibur.
I swear eternal faith to Arthur, king.
Sir Lancelot, you will be my champion.
Which is that? Greatest quality of knighthood.
True.
Where hides evil, then?
Where you never expected.
I protest my innocence.
Were I not king, I would make you pay with your life.
A world of wizards, kings, warriors, queens, swords, sorcery, and desire. Forged of splendor and magic, where future meets past, flesh meets steel, and the only fear is the pain of love. Excalibur, sword of power, sword of kings.
I always thought it was pretty interesting as far as Excalibur goes, which I believe is getting a 4K version from, is it Arrow Video? Anytime I see something that's from Arrow Video, I'm always like, weren't they like a porn company at one point? Like years and years ago? Like late 70s, early 80s? Could be wrong. It might be something else called Arrow. But there's supposed to be a new Blu-ray, I think it is, that is going to be out. And it's funny, with Excalibur, the main, the main stars, main characters, right? So we've got the king, got Guinevere, we've got Lancelot. I saw the actor who plays King Arthur in a couple of other things over the years, and that was about it. Never saw the actor who was Lancelot again. Don't remember seeing the actress who played Guinevere. But look who had supporting roles. Helen Mirren, Gabriel Byrne, he's Uther Pendragon. And then we also have Liam Neeson, who plays, if I remember right, I think he's Gawain. It's kind of like, oh yeah, that's right. Kevin R. Smith points out Patrick Stewart. Yes, Patrick Stewart is also in it. I know, it's just wild. It's just weird how, the main three characters, those actors really, like I said, I saw the actor who played Arthur in a couple of things, but it wasn't like he was the star. Shazama85 says, yeah, it's coming from Arrow Video. W. Forge says Helen Mirren. Yeah, I just said Helen Mirren. W. Forge must have been late getting in. Yes. So I thought that was kind of wild. One last thing I did want to mention. If you are a Patreon member of the Gaming Gang's Patreon channel, I think they consider it, you have early access to our game sale, to the used game sale that is through this Friday. And this Friday, I'm going to open up the game sale to our Discord server members, and then it'll be Patreon members and Discord members through the next week, and then I'll open up through the 19th of December to anybody. But you do have first dibs. And then, of course, if you are a Discord member, you're not a patron, that's fine. As of Friday, probably Friday night, you'll have access to the password to get you in to take a peek. And I will tell you right now, if you are interested in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, I got a lot of the adventure paths, and I haven't shared the images yet, but I've got tons of decks of cards. I think I'm probably going to hang on to the flip mats, because I don't think anybody's going to be like knocking down the door to get their hands on the flip mats. And because my nephew Cameron's painting up some miniatures, we're talking about playing maybe some Frostgrave or Oathmark. Maybe I'll hang on to those for that. But just to mention, loads of goodies, lots of stuff. All right. So tonight we are going to dive on in. We're going to take a first look at the Voidrunner's Codex for Level Up Advanced 5e. And you can also use this with Dungeons and Dragons. This is from Ian Publishing. The 399-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $70. This is also part of the slipcase set for the Voidrunner's Codex. So this is kind of like the core book, and then there's like a Starship Captain's book, and then there's an adventure. So weirdly enough, I could have swore I saw the slipcase set for like $54 someplace. but the MSRP on this hardcover is $70. And I took a peek thinking, oh, well, maybe it's a box set in their soft covers. No, they're hardcovers. I don't know. Now, of course, if you want to just get the PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. Let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Level Up A5E Voidrunner's Codex. Let me get rid of the shrink wrap on this. And of course, a couple of things to mention before we dive on in. First of all, the fine folks over at EN Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. Very important, you know that. Then, of course, we're not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a good feel for what's inside. W. Ford says, Level Up feels like black sheep of the 5e variant family. Maybe that's because EN Publishing is out of the UK. Maybe that's why it feels that way. I don't know. Kind of funny. This is the first time I've had an opportunity to take a peek at an EN Publishing role-playing release. And I had kind of been going back and forth with their marketing person. And I said, hey, you know, I know my audience would be interested in checking out Level Up. And I thought maybe they would just send the starter set. Nope. They said this. I'm like, oh, okay. I also have a bestiary. I think it's the new bestiary that they've got. But yeah, I thought that was kind of weird because I don't have anything for A5E outside of these two books. Now, Kevin R. Smith says it's super crunchy. That might put off some 5e players. Let's take a look at the back here. Space. In some stories, it's the final frontier. In others, it's where nobody can hear you scream. It is the scene of state space operas and ragtag rebellions alike. Voidrunner's Codex brings science fiction to your games, allowing you to adventure in galaxies far, far away, or to boldly go where nobody has gone before. With new player heritages and classes, rules for psionics, and a slew of alien monsters, robots, and foes, this book contains everything you need to start exploring the void. It says requires a Level Up Advanced 5th edition or 5e core rulebook. So that last line would not be correct. This book contains everything you need to start exploring the void. Well, if it contains everything you need, you wouldn't need these, right? Am I like crazy thinking that? All righty. So let's dive on in. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take a peek at the credits page. There are a lot of folks who worked on this to bring this to life. So let's give credit where credit is due. Kevin R. Smith says that Level Up is very well supported as a website with all the stuff from the books plus the zines. Cool. So we do have a little bookmark. Get that out of the way here. So we'll have an introduction. Chapter 1 is Origins. Chapter 2 is Void Running Classes. Chapter 3 is Equipment. 4 is Hacking. 5, Psionics. Followed by Feats and Maneuvers. Then Planet Side. Got an Alien Bestiary. Bestiary. What the hell's wrong with me tonight? Like, I can't talk. Ate too much turkey Thanksgiving. W. Ford said, hey, at least it's out. People are still waiting for DC 20. Well, Draw Steel came out. What's going on with that? I haven't heard anything about Draw Steel. Outside of people were like, oh, it's going to knock off Dungeons and Dragons. And it was like, yeah. And then it's, as far as I know, it's out. At least I think it's out in PDF. And I haven't heard boo. I don't know. So it looks like we've got the same information as we had on the back. It says, we assume that you are familiar with the core rules of Level Up. You can use this book to create pure science fiction settings or to mix and match with the contents of Level Up's range of fantasy material to create your own science fantasy universe. This book is primarily a toolkit, although it does make some broad assumptions. You know, funny enough, I was talking about that little bit of conversation over on Discord about Traveler coming out with a 5e edition of Mongoose Traveler. And I had said, you know, it's not like there's a lot of really popular or really well-known science fiction RPGs built on the 5e mechanics. At least nothing really jumps to mind. So maybe some of you folks out there are more familiar with that than I would be. And then funny enough, tonight we're going to take a look at the Voidrunner's Codex, which is a third-party 5e supplement. I thought that was pretty wild. So we've got our player options will be galactic origins, a touch of class, additional skills and languages, fantastic feats, equipped for adventure, and then we also have psychic warriors. Setting the tone, Voidrunner's Codex is meant to provide for any sort of sci-fi game you can imagine. But sci-fi is a broad concept which covers sweeping space battles, cosmic horror, and dystopian futures. Here's something funny, a little side note about sci-fi. Most science fiction fans do not like that term. It's either science fiction or SF. I don't know. I'm just saying. So I've heard from people over the years. So we've got apocalyptic, dystopian, horror, military, space opera, space western. Here are our heritages. We've got the android. Do androids dream of electric sheep? You can be a gray. That's kind of funny. Humans. All right. And of course, I'm skipping pages, so I'm probably skipping on past some of these heritages as well. The NATO reptilians. They stand a little taller than humans with long tails and forked tongues. Their protective scales vary in color from whites to greens to purples. Cold-blooded creatures, the NATO evolved as a nomadic species and exhibit many of those traits even today. They vary from group to group. Some exhibit natural camouflage abilities, while others have the ability to regenerate injuries or expel a toxic cloud of poisonous gas. Most of these differences reflect divergent evolution as a species underwent diaspora. NATO can be found almost anywhere from spaceports to settled worlds to distant outposts. And that is what they look like. Kevin R. Smith says they like Level Up, but whether you like it probably depends on your opinion of Pathfinder, since its goal is to offer build choices at virtually every level. Kevin King says they prefer Pathfinder to 5e, though they're in the minority there among those they play with. So Kevin R. Smith points out, if you like Pathfinder, and I would assume Pathfinder 2nd edition, you'll like the extra crunch and customization. I talk about that all the time with Pathfinder and Starfinder. Probably the greatest amount of customization options available to you in role-playing games. Now, of course, we got the new edition of Starfinder, so that's kind of back to square one a little bit. But as far as Pathfinder goes, yeah. Oh, yeah. So are these... Trying to figure out what we're looking at here. Different civilizations. Okay. Unions, underclass, urbanite, virtual. So now we're going to get into, I guess that was probably for your background there. Looks like these are backgrounds. Detective, devotee, gambler, employee. I'm just an employee. Hey, man, I just work here. You get +1 to charisma and 1 other ability score. So these provide you with some additional proficiencies, languages, and then we also have connections and mementos. It looks like we got quite a few here. We had the gambler, we've got the salvager, we got the student. Okay, production quality, paper stock, really nice. Very, very nice. And this does have a stitched binding in case you're curious. It looks as if the artwork is pretty varied throughout. It does not have a uniformity to it. Some is line art, some is digital art. Some has a more traditional role-playing game look to it. Some of the artwork looks kind of the same, almost like muted style as we see in Traveler. Kevin King says, ads for kids' toys, Cirque du Soleil. I think my wife's been watching my YouTube again. All right. This looks interesting. You got the scientist. Let's see. Let's see if we had some action-packed class here. My gosh, this is all for the scientist? No, can't be. They must have been the last class. No, I am incorrect. That is the scientist still. There's the archetypes. And then, of course, you have subclasses here. Wow. Okay, so let's delve into one of the classes. So we got the scout. A quick wit can be the most dangerous weapons. Wouldn't it be weapon? In a Voidrunner's arsenal. Scouts are plucky masters of charm, able to get ahead with a clever plan. I've got a clever plan, me lord. Or a sly turn of phrase. Some are outlaws hustling up a livelihood through whatever means necessary, and some are suave operatives using the best tools of the trade. Audacious and bold, scouts shatter expectations, lay the charm on thick, and routinely get away with gambits that defy the odds. So we've got the art of the con. Scouts often make their living through underhanded and often illegal activities. I guess these are kind of the rogue. W4 says, Han Solo would never be caught with a collar that big. Yes. And he would have isn't it the Corellian blood stripe, or is it honor stripe that runs down his pants? Yeah, I'm going back to those 3 Han Solo books from back in the day. Wasn't it Brian Daly who did those? So creating your scout. Scouts are charismatic, but it takes real dedication to learn their tricks. When creating your scout, it's important to consider how and why they chose this life. Did you grow up in abject poverty and have to hustle your way up? Or do you come from a noble background at home in high society? Perhaps you work for the authorities as secret agent or cunning ambassador. Maybe you were taken under the wing of a master con artist or smuggler who taught you everything you know. Kevin R. Smith says it's Han Solo in the Elizabethan period. Yeah, he's got the ruff. Keith Lewis says it's a blood stripe. Thank you. Wallona's Cave has joined us in chat. Welcome back. All right, so we got our class features. It's a 1d8 hit die. Proficiencies, light armor, simple weapons, martial weapons, starship weapons, tools, computers, disguise kit, hacking tools, thieves tools, space vehicles, and one gaming set of your choice. Saving throws, dexterity, and charisma. And they get to choose 3 skills from acrobatics, athletics, culture, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. That's going to tell us what sort of equipment you start off with. Then we've got our levels here, the features of each level, and how many clever tricks you know. So at first level, you have the Dastardly Gambit. It's an infuriating ability to distract, goad, or otherwise throw your opponents off their game at just the right moment. So here are the clever tricks. Aggressive Retreat, Back Channel Gear, Dastardly Devil, Extra Dastardly. You have to sit there and twirl your mustache. Oh, I guess there's quite a few of these clever tricks. Then we got our archetypes. So we've got the Envoy, the Miscreant. Did I just skip one? Yes, the Scoundrel. 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 I like the sound of that word. Smuggler, Spy, Star Pilot. Quite a good amount of page space devoted to the classes here. That's cool. So this is the Trooper. So this is essentially your weapons expert. Get into our equipment. So we do have technology levels. Standard and advanced. We're not going to get numeric here. Armor, shielding, and weaponry. Melee weapons. Looks like we're getting a few images of some of the weapons, so that's cool. Always like to see that. That's one of the things I really like about Traveler, is the amount of images that we have for the gear. Now, usually we don't have an image for every single piece, but still we get quite a few. We have jetpacks. I'll take a guess the equipment section is going to be a good chunk of page space here as well. These vehicles. Yep. Collisions, malfunctions. Properties of vehicles. What is that? Like a floating pickup? That's what it looks like. Wallona's Cave is asking, have I reviewed Labyrinth Lord Revised and Expanded? No, I have not. I don't have any relationship with Goblinoid Games. So, yeah. Can't help you. Just like I haven't had an opportunity to do a review of the latest edition of Swords and Wizardry. Although, strangely enough, I think Matt Finch follows me on Twitter. with his Mythmere account. Might be wrong. So you've got psionics. This is probably going to be pretty detailed here as well. I think this is one of the selling points of this setting are the psionics. Now, granted, of course, you've got an opportunity here to create any sort of science fiction setting of tone too. Kevin R. Smith is curious if the revised and expanded Labyrinth Lord is out in print or if it's just PDF. I shared a news piece about it last week. And for some reason, I think it was just a PDF, if I remember correctly. Here we got feats and maneuvers, things like Mecha Ace, Mind Shaper, Machine Liberator. You empathically feel for machines. You felt their minds and tend to think of them as innocent, enslaved creatures that simply don't understand the concept of freedom. Concepts can be taught, however. Whenever you finish an uncontested hack or are locked out of a contested hack, you can choose to liberate the device. Devices that are liberated in this way treat all potential users as hostile threats, regardless of credentials or passwords, for the duration of their high alert. Other creatures attempting to use a liberated device in this way, while it is on high alert, must successfully hack back into it, ending the device's liberation on a success. So you have Ace Starfighter maneuvers. I think the Starship Combat is in the Starship Captain's book. So now we're going to get into worlds. Planet side. It's like hazards. Caltrop mines. Neurotoxin gas. Travel scenery. Social encounters. So it looks like we're going to have a decent number of tables to kind of build things from. Here's our bestiary. Look, it's Godzilla. It is the Behemoth Tyrant, the Cloak Ray, Dire Cyberwolf, drones. Looks like we have 2 or 3 entries per page. More drones. Hollow Folk. Seen from the front, hollow folk appear to be ordinary humanoids. From the rear, they resemble hollow shells, like papier-mâché casts of a humanoid's front half. That's pretty wild. See if you can make that out in the artwork there. While attached to a creature, hollow folk imitate their host body's appearances nearly perfectly and are difficult to detect. One telltale sign of a hollow folk is that when wounded, it doesn't bleed. Once discovered, a hollow folk can be driven away from its unwilling host. If sufficiently wounded with slashing weapons, the hollow folk will peel itself off from its victim and try to escape. Its victim can then be saved unless it was killed in the battle. Oops. The Carthog. Mind spore mushrooms. A little inspiration from the Terminator, I'd say. It's a decoy skull. The Ravix, sort of a rat creature. Ravix are an annoying and invasive species of rat-like creatures common throughout space travel for breeding quickly and adapting to their environments with astounding speed. Swarms of Ravix prey on smaller game and infest any place they can create a nest. They're the size of normal rats, but have sharp, pronounced fangs and tusks, and generally gray in color I have 2 sets of black eyes. Well, well. I think we wrap with the best here. I know we've got some appendices too. We got the Void Dragon. Spacefaring civilizations are accustomed to think of themselves as the rulers of spaceways. What can stand up to the might of a capital starship or bring down an interstellar empire? But the true masters of space, the Void Dragons, laugh at the pretensions of the little folk. Mightier than warships of the line, longer lived than civilizations, Void Dragons are inscrutable and inexorable. Jeez, really? Humanoid space exploration exists only in the Void Dragon's shadow. Well, well. Their challenge rated 26. You can see where the inspiration for some of these are coming from, such as the Zenid Queen, little alien action going on there. All right. So, looks like we get some NPCs to wrap up that bestiary, such as the Ruffian, the Smuggler, Underworld Boss. So, our first appendix is using this book with 5e. So, if you don't have A5e, if you don't have level up, so customize weapons. And we get our index. Get some character sheets, right? Oh, I gotta say, that is a pretty detailed index here. Gotta like that. Yep, there we go. Here's our character sheet. Front and back. Oh, looks like we got another one for... Oh, yes, this is backstory, appearance, organizations, different factions. If you've got a psionic character, you're going to use this sheet here too. All right. So that is a look inside the 399-page Voidrunner's Codex for Level Up, Advanced 5e, and 5e D&D. I do believe this is coming soon. I don't think this is available as a standalone yet. I think it's currently part of that box set, or you can grab the PDF, but I think this is on the very near horizon. Now, I could be absolutely wrong, but I did see, I think it was ACD was indicating that this was still as a pre-order, so it would not be out, but you know, who knows? Anyway, carries an MSRP of $70. If you want to grab just the PDF over at DriveThruRPG, it is $24.99. Kevin King asks, so these level up books are all independent of one another? No need to buy in to the entire level up system. Well, the back of the book, we already saw, it tells you that you need to have either level up A5e or 5e. As far as being standalone, I don't think so. So as an example, this book here, this is kind of our core for science fiction adventures if you want to use A5e. And when I say A5e, I mean level up, right? So rather than just saying level up A5e every time, because it's exactly titled Level Up Advanced 5th Edition. That's a little bit of a mouthful to say constantly. But as far as this goes, this also has a Starship Captain's book. Did not look like we had any sort of space travel or space combat rules or mechanics in here. So my assumption would be you would find it in that. So I will guess you would need both books. Now, Level Up Advanced 5e, the fantasy version, I think is 3 core books. Kevin R. Smith can tell us, because he's familiar with it. But I think it has 3 core books, just like Dungeons and Dragons does. And then there are other releases. In fact, I've got the newest bestiary we'll be taking a look at probably next week. But there's also zines that have come out, because there's a zine specifically for A5E. So there is a lot of support, as Kevin R. Smith has pointed out. This is not like, okay, so here's Level Up, here's 3 books, and then, maybe we'll get around to doing something again one of these days. No, it's very, very well supported. And I see crowdfunding projects quite often for some of the, in fact, I shared the crowdfunding for this. I think it was a Kickstarter. I don't think it was a backer kit. I don't think it was GameFound either. So I gotta say, it looked pretty interesting. Did also look pretty crunchy, but as Kevin R. Smith pointed out, looks like you got loads and loads of player character options when you're building your character. Isn't just, oh, well, here's your archetype and it's a paragraph or 2. No, there's quite a bit to it. Kevin R. Smith says, yep, 3 core books, but they're not sure if you absolutely need the GM's guide. Kind of like Tales of the Valiant. Got the player's guide. You've got the Monster Vault. Game Master's Guide is really good. Not needed to run the game. And that's kind of what we're seeing from a lot of companies now, that their Game Master Guide tends to be sort of optional, just like Castles and Crusades. You got the player's book. Okay. Then you also have the Monsters and Treasure. Yep. Okay. You need those. In fact, you could probably get away with not having Monsters and Treasure, but then you're stuck converting all the stuff from AD&D and 2nd edition up to 3rd edition D&D. But the Castle Keeper's Guide is all advice and optional stuff. Optional, like, types of magic, optional combat rules, all different stuff. So, all right. So once again, big thank you to EN Publishing for sending this along. Like I said, this is the first role-playing game product I've had an opportunity to check out from EN Publishing. I say, just taking a peek, first look, I'm impressed. Once again, I would like to check out the advanced 5e, Level Up for fantasy. But, we take what we can get, right? All right. So what's cooking the rest of the week? Well, on tomorrow's show, we're going to take another Gooey Cube dip. This time we're going to take a look at The Darkest Dream. This is the first part of the, I think it's Crimson something. Oh, close. Red Star Rising campaign. It's a reddish color. It's a bitterly color, And this is going to start off at first level. Now we've taken a peek at a couple of the big boxes. Now, this is also pretty heavy, so I guarantee there's a lot of stuff in here. It's not as big as some of those other boxes, but one of the things we had noticed was it was, levels 8 and up, right? Like the Gensicon Adventure Bundle, which has 4 adventures in it, which all looked pretty cool. What was it? Starting off at 6th level, 8th level? Ran through 11th level. So this is going to get us on board at first level. So I am very interested in taking a peek at that. And then we're going to peek at Pirates of a Shattered World. That is going to be on Thursday's show. I will also mention I am in the midst of a wargaming week. You probably missed a very civil whist. I did a first look video of this. This is from Phalanx Games. And later on tonight, I will have my review up for Untamed Worlds from Osprey Games. This is a role-playing game but it is a military science fiction role-playing game, and you will find some things out in the review which will make sense why I'm including it in a wargaming week. And then we've got some first looks at some GMT game stuff, Columbia games. So yeah, I know I did a cold open because I'm doing some cold opens to begin the standalone videos. And I said, oh, it's happy holidays. It's holiday season. It's a time of peace on earth and goodwill towards all men. And of course, I'm going to roll out a wargaming week. Like, yeah, okay, dummy. I am trying to get as much coverage out there of stuff, even if it's just first look videos. So if something catches somebody's eye, you know, put it on your wish list or a last minute gift. All right. That is it for this time out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you. You get a bigger thank you because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company. But of course, I also know that a lot of people out there don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the channel. It really does mean a lot. Of course, if you like the video, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. At least it's supposed to let you know when the stream goes live. It's also supposed to let you know when I share other videos, such as tonight's review of Untamed Worlds from Osprey Games. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.